Guys, and welcome to my channel. I'm Kristen, and today I am sharing some farmhouse Christmas DIYs. I love a good thrift store or yard sale, so whenever I get a chance, I'm going to find things from those places because they are so inexpensive. So I'm going to redo this cutting board with the cow on it. I think this was originally from Dollar General a few years back. I'm not really sure, but it kind of looked very similar to items or even maybe Dollar Tree. I just painted it in the color Crimson, and that is by Waverly Chalk Paint. I love that red paint. It's just such a Christmas vibe. I am also going to be distressing it a little bit just to make it a little more farmhouse, a little bit distressed. I also used my Cricut and cut out this that says Farmhouse Christmas, and I just love anything that's farmhouse. I don't care if this style ever goes out. I think it already has, but it is forever going to be in my home. I just love it. I'm also going to go ahead and use these bells with this bow. This is from Dollar General, and I just kind of reuse a lot of these items every single year, but this was such a quick and easy makeover. DIY, I'm using some rub-on transfers. These are off of Amazon, and I'm using these wood pieces. I think these are either from Dollar Tree or Hobby Lobby. I'm not exactly sure, but I'm just going to go ahead and sand them down and then paint all of them in some white chalk paint. Once they're painted, I'm going to go ahead and glue them all together. I think this is a really fun way to make some sort of wood block sign. One, it's kind of heavy, and two, it's going to stand alone. And three, these four pieces actually fit this rub-on transfer perfectly. I love these ones. I love any sort of animal on my decor. I just think they're so cute, and who doesn't love a good longhorn or a Highland cow or a sheep or a goat? I think these are adorable, and this one was one of my favorites. Now, I didn't do a whole lot more to this. I just went ahead and rubbed this on. I'm using a Cricut scraper, but a lot of times these rub-on transfers do come with like these really thick, I'd like to call them popsicle sticks or craft sticks, but they usually come with the rub-on transfers, but you can just use anything. You could use a credit card. You could use whatever you choose to rub these on. Now, these are more like stickers versus rub-on, so these do take a little bit more elbow grease, let's say, to get these on. And then once that was on, I'm using a chip brush. Now, I get these off of Dixie Belle's website because they're just over $1, but you can grab these at any sort of craft store, and I just dry brushed a little bit of brown paint onto the sign. Really quick way to redo some sort of sign or decor in your home is just by grabbing an old decor piece. You can grab a picture frame, and I'm just going to be adding some scrapbook paper to the inside of this. Once that scrapbook paper is in, I'm going to go ahead and flip this over, and I did have a Couture silkscreen stencil that I loved. I love this pig. I thought it was super cute, and although it did come with extra, I think it came with sunglasses and other things like that, I just chose to add the pig onto the front of the glass. So if you're new to Couture, I love using it on glass. I think that this honestly is the best starter piece to use, like any sort of glass. It always just comes out so perfect. Then, of course, I had to embellish it with a bow because this is a Christmas pig. Ahead and grabbed some vases and these pillar candles from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to go ahead and spray paint them in this frosted glass. Now do not put these in the dishwasher because this frosted glass will come right off in the dishwasher from your vases. So just keep that in mind. If you want these to stay like this, you're going to go ahead and not put them in the dishwasher. So this one, I decided to go ahead and wrap some twine around the bottom. I think twine always looks so cute when, especially around Christmas time, farmhouse time, pretty much any time. I just think that twine just always helps. Also grabbed these little, I want to say these are clips for decorating Christmas packages, but of course I'm just going to add these to the bottom just for some great embellishments. And I think these are so cute, and this just took a few minutes to do. Obviously you got to wait for the spray paint to dry, but to decorate them, I think these are super fun. I like to grab items like this after the holiday. Even for $3, I don't think that this is a bad deal when it comes to Christmas decor. Some of you did pay full price for this, but of course I think I probably paid half off, so probably $1.50 for it. I'm adding scrapbook paper to the center, and these little scrapbook pieces, they're from Hobby Lobby, and you can get a pack for like $2.99, which I think is a steal when it comes to scrapbook paper. But this fit perfect. It didn't have to cut. It was honestly like the perfect size, which what are the chances of that? Now I'm just adding a ton of hot glue to the back of this sign so I can add that scrapbook paper piece back to the center. I have so many ornaments or gift tags, things like that, that are in my craft stash. So I always try to use as much as possible. And then the following year, I try to use what I bought the previous year or use what I have on hand. But I just added this little ornament to this, and then it had that hole in the front. So I just went ahead and added a bow to this. And then I did trim it down just a little bit so you could see the Christmas tree. Also a piece from Dollar General, and I went ahead and used my tin snips to trim all of this down. Now I didn't really care if the leaves were there because I was going to cover it anyways, but I think I was better off actually keeping the leaves and just adding the scrapbook paper to the top, but instead I decided to cut them all out with some tin snips, which took way too much time to do. Now I'm just flipping it over and just adding a bunch of hot glue to the back to add some scrapbook paper. And I love this vintage scrapbook paper. I think this one is one of my favorites. And I do get all my scrapbook paper from Hobby Lobby. I just prefer the larger packs because you get more for your money and you only spend a few dollars getting at least 50 sheets of scrapbook paper. Now, of course, this Hello Fall did need to get covered, so I'm going to go ahead and paint it. And then I am going to just add a vinyl decal using my Cricut to add to the center. Was a little plain once I added it with some hot glue. I decided to use this greenery piece, and I think that I pulled this off of something, but I thought it looked adorable, so I went ahead and just glued it right to the top of the sign. And then of course I had a cute little ornament, so I'm like, why not just add a little bit more to this? Kinda going on a theme here with Dollar General items, but like I said, I can get these for a really good price after the holiday seasons, so of course I'm gonna have to. So the first thing I did here was just pull off all these leaves because it's not fall, we're doing Christmas. I ended up ripping the entire wreath off and just kind of taking it apart and then adding it back. I did have this like pre-made, I want to say this is a garland or maybe even a wreath from a previous DIY or a previous item that I pulled apart. I just always save everything. I don't know why, because I don't usually need everything, but this fit almost perfect. There was a little gap, but I figured that I would be able to cover that, so I didn't really think it was a big deal. So I just added that to the top of this, and then I just added a little bit extra, and then you can cover it with whatever if you want to add some different ornaments or a bow or things like that. But I got kind of lucky and just added an extra piece to this, and that's honestly all I did. And I think this turned out so cute, even with the welcome. You could add lights to this if you chose. I just decided to keep it simple. I grabbed this wood piece from Dollar Tree and I'm gonna go ahead and paint this white. I also grabbed a tree sign from Dollar General. Now, like I said, I love Dollar General and this one was only $1. So I went ahead and grabbed this, and then I am just adding a base for the back so I will be able to stand this tree up. I just had these little wood rounds from Dollar Tree from quite a while ago, and they always come in handy for the fall and for Christmas time. So I'm kind of glad that I grabbed a bunch of them when I did. Like I said, it was quite a few years ago, so I've had these around forever, absolutely forever. And then, of course, we have to embellish this a little bit because it just does not look right unless you add some greenery, some berries, make it cute, and that is what I did here. I love these wooden trees from Hobby Lobby. They always look so high-end when you're finished, and they are just such a fun DIY to do. They're already pre-made, which is great. I love using a good stain. This is in the dark walnut color by Minwax, and then I am just using this little Mary pick and this greenery pick. The Mary pick was from Dollar General a couple years ago, and I'm just using a greenery pick either from Walmart. Who knows where it's from? Probably Walmart. And then I'm just going to be gluing those to the front of the tree.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas.
This DIY is a favorite of mine, so if you have any of these trees laying around from Dollar Tree, or if you want to pick some up this year, I'm just going to go ahead and use this candle holder as well, along with the wood tree. I love these half wood beads. I grabbed them off of Amazon, and I'm just going to go ahead and put them around the entire wooden tree. Once that is done, I'm going to go ahead and paint this. So, I mean, obviously painting's optional, but I think it looks a lot better and a lot more finished if you do. So I'm just using that Crimson Waverly chalk paint. Like I said, this red is definitely Christmas red. Once the red was done, I just went ahead and dry brushed it with some white paint. Now, obviously, this is completely optional and you can do as you choose if you want to make something like this, but I just thought it just gave it a little more extra, a little bit of texture, just a little bit more something. I'm also going to be using my Cricut. This one is Baking Spirits Bright, and I find all of my designs on Cricut's design space. I'm not good at making my own, so I just use what is available, but I'm sure this really wouldn't have been hard to make if I wanted to, but I don't know, I just wouldn't have thought of that. Now I'm just adding some wood pieces to the back of this because I needed something that was going to hold this up on the candlestick since there really wasn't much of a top base on the candle holder. And then now I'm just going to be adding the tree right to the top. For this DIY, I'm using these Hobby Lobby wood pieces from this bag. Now, I always get these half off, so make sure that you don't buy them full price because they will always go on sale. I'm be gluing 3 of them together because we're going to be making some signs. Now, normally I would stain these, but since it was probably cold out when I made these, I'm going to go ahead and do like a faux stain. I just add water to some paint, and you can either use a lot of water to make a light stain or a little bit of water to make a darker stain. But I just love how this turns out, and this is such a fun way to stain things that you want to, but it is way too cold to actually do. So once that is done, so I glued 3 pieces together, and then this one just 2 because that is all I needed. Now I love these silkscreen stencils from Couture. These were from last year, obviously, so I don't think they have them this year, or I don't even know if they have anything similar, but I'm just going to be adding these with some white chalk paste, and then obviously you can embellish them, you can leave them as is, but I think these were just such a quick DIY to do, especially for Christmas time. I just added some baker's twine to 2 out of 3 of them. I just thought this gave it a little bit of color since I just did a brown stain and white chalk paste. So it just makes it look a little more fun and Christmassy. Next to DIY, I'm using a wood round. This is actually from a yard sale. I picked it up for $3. These are way more expensive at I want to say a hardware store. I guess kind of a hardware store like Menards or Lowe's. I think these range from like $10 to $15 to maybe even $20 a piece. So anyways, I wanted to make something fun with this and something that I was going to actually use. So of course I'm going to go ahead and paint it in my Christmassy red color. Of course it's crimson. And then once that was done, I did do the front and the back side because you will maybe be able to see both later on. I'm not sure. Couture silkscreen stencil. I pretty much keep everything that I've ever made with Couture just because it looks so high-end and pretty. So that is why I use this all the time, because I know that these are the crafts or even the crafts I would be able to sell just because they look really nice. So I'm using some bright white chalk paste by Couture, and then of course my favorite thing about this is that when I peel it off, it just looks amazing, and it's just like one of those things, it's like a surprise, like either it's going to turn out great because you did a good job, or you might have messed it up, like one or the other. But once that is done, I wanted to turn this into a Lazy Susan. So Lazy Susans are some of my like favorite things to look at stores, but I never think of buying them. You can get this piece right here to make anything into a Lazy Susan off of Amazon. I think it was $6, which I think that's pretty inexpensive when you're making a piece. So I paid under 10 bucks for this giant Lazy Susan, and I just screwed the screws right to the bottom, and that is it. I thought this was super fun to do, and I love it.
and a happy new year. Good tidings we bring to you and your kin. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a happy.
For this next DIY, I'm using these smaller wreath forms that are from Dollar Tree, and I'm also using this clearance find that I found at Hobby Lobby. I love finding clearance items. Obviously, this is from last year, but I look every single time. I don't know when their sales happen. I don't know how they do any of that. I just really run into sales. I don't go there often, so I pretty much just grab whatever sale item I can possibly find when I do go there. So I'm not sure what stain color I use for this. It was not my favorite. I think it was like a classic gray. I can't remember, but I did not love it. I think it was like a classic gray, and it always turns out like a weird oak color gray. It's not my favorite, but I worked with it. Also, I cut this out from Cricut's Design Space, and of course we have to do the wreath, but I wanted to see where the wreath needed to go, so I figured I would just add this towards the bottom of the fake, I'm gonna say this was like a door or a cabinet door. Once that was on there, I'm just gonna go ahead and make my wreath. So I always like to wrap my wreaths in a burlap. I just think it looks nice, and then you can just embellish it how you want. So you won't be able to see that wreath form if you just wrap a little bit of burlap around it. I'm going to go ahead and flip this Dollar Tree house over. It was one of those buffalo check cute houses, and obviously maybe someone still has these in their craft stash, but I decided to flip it over and not worry about ripping off that burlap because it is such a pain. I'm going to use another one of these rub-on transfers. This donkey one was so cute. It says Jingle all the way. And if I can find these, I will link them down below because they are just the absolute cutest. And they're so full and large that you really don't have to add anything else to the house unless you chose to. I decided to keep mine as is and just kind of add this into your trays or as a shelf sitter. But these are so fun, and it doesn't take long to make these. Our house, Dollar Tree like always had so many good houses. I have not seen a good house sign in quite a while. Let me know in the comments below if you guys have seen any, or if I'm missing out, or if I just don't really go there as often, and there must be something. I'm going to go ahead and use these chalk Couture stencils once again. Now these ones are some of the first ones I ever bought, so I think these are probably like 4 years old, but I wanted to stack these little animals, so I went ahead and did that with the sheep, pig, and the cow. Obviously, I had to wait till they dried, but I always use a hairdryer to make things go a lot quicker. I just added a bow to these just to kind of make this look Christmassy. Like I say Christmassy, I don't even think that's a word, but I do say Christmassy quite often. But adding a bow to the cow just makes this look more Christmassy, and I can just add this to a wreath, which I did here, and I think this turned out so cute. Another way to spruce up the Dollar Tree houses is by using napkins. I think napkins are some of the easiest things to work with unless you're using Mod Podge. Like, I mean, forgive me if I don't love the iron-on method. I have tried it. I don't like it. I prefer the glue stick hands down all the way, and there's so many people to back me up on this because I think that everyone just uses Mod Podge and an iron, which that works great. Don't get me wrong. Like, not for me. but maybe for others. But I just go ahead and use the glue stick. I'm not hating you if you use it. It just doesn't work for me. So obviously I don't know what I'm doing. But yeah, so once that was dry, I just kind of use a sander to sand things off and you're good to go. This is like such a quick, easy DIY to do. Moving on to another one of those houses. I loved these. And like I said, I have not seen things like this in quite a while. Went ahead and paint this into the crimson red color. And then once that is dry, we're going to go ahead and use another rub-on transfer. Like I said, this is a farmhouse DIY video. And I think that these are absolutely perfect for anyone's home that likes these kind of things. And this is just another one that just fit perfect on here. Maybe a little bit overage on the bottom, but you know what? It looks so fun. It looks so good. And then these, like I said, are kind of sticky. So some of the paint was coming off, but you can just sand it down and make it look like that you intentionally meant to do that. And this turned out perfect. Another house. Like I said, I need some of these houses because I really need to do some new Christmas DIYs, and I would love to do more like this, more very simple things that only take a couple minutes to do. Use your Cricut, cut out a snowman, and then I just added some snowflakes around the snowman, and that was it. This one I really liked. I just bought like a broken sign from Michael's. It was super cheap. I don't even know how much it was. It sat in my craft room for like 3 years. I'm gonna go ahead and paint it. This is gray. I'm not sure the gray color, but it is by Waverly Chalk Paint. And then I went ahead and cut out using my Cricut. This says fresh cut trees. And I wanted to do something fun with this sign because it did kind of have like levels of wood. Like if that makes sense, I had like levels, which you'll see in a second. But I thought fresh and then cut trees on the bottom would be really cute. And then I thought it'd be really cute, which this is why I did it. So, cause this is cute. And I said cute way too many times. I'm like over that word right now. To add some bottle brush trees to this. And I just thought this was like one of the like fun, cute signs to do. I love grabbing bottle brush trees, but sometimes I really just don't know what to do with it. I decided to go ahead and just distress this because the paint did come up from the Cricut, what is it? The transfer tape. It did come off, but I figured, you know what? We're distressing everything today, so it's okay. So distressing away and then adding the bottle brush trees. And once the trees were added, it did kind of look plain, so I, of course, just had to add some extra berries and embellishments to this, but I think this turned out really, really cute. But you guys, that is it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and let me know in the comments below when you guys decorate for Christmas. And if you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you are new to my channel, stick around and subscribe. Till then, I will see you guys soon. Bye!